Welcome to the channel. This time around I'll get serious with the engine. I'll be pulling it out and seeing what's going on with the excess smoke and running poorly above idle. And it deteriorated over the years. It ran okay when I first bought it. The other thing is the clutch seems to slip a little bit. This is not really, I'm not into the restoration yet. This is basically just maintenance. So we'll have a look inside the engine and see if we can find what the issue is, and hopefully resolve it. And I'll keep my fingers crossed that there's nothing seriously wrong with it. So let's pull it out and tear it apart and see what we find. Okay, here we have it. The engine is out. That was really easy compared to the Kawasaki anyway. In fact, it came down with a crunch when the last bolt came out of there. Yeah, this inside of this left case is full of oil. So that would explain some of the oil in there. So that's the output shaft seal and probably the push rod seal. So on the right hand side, I haven't taken this off yet, and it's time for a full disassembly, I guess. Of course it's still leaking oil. It was nice and fresh because I just put it in there yesterday. I just put in some proper motorcycle oil. I'm not sure what was in it before. It could have been any engine oil that was not clutch compatible. So here we have it. Now we do a teardown and see what we got cooking here. This is as far as I got so far. The left-hand side, the outer cover was easy. The flywheel was a real bear to get off. I had to modify a Chrysler power steering pump puller to get it off because I didn't have the correct puller for this thing. It's a left-hand thread, super fine, and a special tool that's required normally. But I made the puller work with a lot of, let's say, a lot of strain on the little flywheel. It's nothing like a CT90 or any 090 Honda engine where once you get it off, just put a little bit of stress on it and they pop off. This one I had to put diesel engine power into it to get this thing to pop, and it finally did go. Anyway, once I got the flywheel off and the stator and all that stuff, it was obvious that the the left-hand seal was leaking. There was a stream of oil coming down there. So if it was leaking out oil, it was sucking in air. So that was one thing. And on the right-hand side, well, the cover came off fine. One thing I did notice at the bottom, I don't know if you can see this or not, there's a little piece of something in here, and they are magnetic. So I'll have to investigate that. Hopefully it's nothing major. It's hard to tell if the crankshaft seal is leaking because it's immersed in oil anyway. So no doubt that it is leaking. So I'll pull off the clutch. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. When I was in the high gears, I forget the top two gears, you release the clutch and it would slip until I back off from throttle and give it throttle again, then it would kind of hold. And I'm not too sure if it's worn disc or clutch plates or just the wrong oil was put in there. I'm not too sure. So I'll take that apart and see what's going on there. When I took the cylinder off, the cylinder head gasket was leaking, and it was just, I'm not going to say finger tight on these cylinder head bolts, but they were really loose. So that was not helping as well. So I guess I'll take it apart, investigate where this metal's coming from, and hope for the best. So, well, I'll continue with the disassembly. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. The seals for this engine are made of unobtainium, apparently. I was trying to find a seal kit online, but it seems to be not available anywhere. So I'm going to try to get the seals piecemeal, one at a time, through the seal part numbers and through some dimension. I'll have to take some measurements and whatnot. Hopefully I'll be able to get that. The gasket kit is not a problem because there's, what, 2, 3, maybe four or five gaskets in this thing. Really simple design. Of course, two-stroke, very few moving parts and all that good stuff. Anyway, yeah, I'll go hunting for seals now, and once I get this apart and get some numbers, I just need the number off the right-hand side crankshaft seal now. And the kickstart seal is a metal clad with no number on it, so I'll have to measure that one up. So anyway, I'll continue on, and hopefully I'll be able to find some seals. So the disassembly is completed. At this stage, I've cleaned the cases and the gears. I can't find the source of the magnetic pieces I found earlier, and a clue may be the flywheel. It has all sorts of notches and gouges in the aluminum. It's like something was left loose in there at some point in time, and maybe the stuff I'm finding is from a previous repair. I don't know what happened, so everything looks good in there. And I guess I'll continue with the reassembly at this point in time. And it should go okay. I'm really happy that nothing serious has been found in there. So let's reassemble it. forgot to record installing the cylinder. This is basically the same process as all other engines that I've worked on, other than the piston rings have to be indexed exactly in the right position to avoid going into having the gap in the ports. So what they have is they have alignment pins in the piston ring grooves. So it's just a matter of aligning them correctly, and then the bottom of the cylinder is tapered like the other ones I've worked on. And you'll oil it up, lube it up, and then very carefully slide the cylinder over the piston, the assembled piston, and then you're good. Other than the alignment pins is the same as let's say a CM90 or any Honda 90 engine. The other thing is the nuts to hold down the cylinder are recessed, so I don't have a crowfoot that'll fit that. So what I'm going to do is I've got an old 10mm wrench here, and I'm going to weld a nut on at an exact distance from the center line to center line to make an offset. It's going to have to be a little bit on the wide side or the long side compared to most of the ones I've got, because of the depth between the center line of the nut and the fin protrusion. So I'll make that up, and I'll be able to torque the cylinder down correctly. The cylinder head itself is not a big deal. It's just regular old straight on with the long nuts or long bolts. Okay, I calculated the torque adjustment to do the 1.5" extension, and I'm starting at the lower end of the torque range, which is 70 inch-pounds. Set my torque wrench, and the calculation comes out to 58 at the torque wrench angle. So I'm going to start at 75 just to be safe. It's always exciting starting an engine the first time after doing work on it. Since I haven't done a whole lot of two-strokes, I was a little bit concerned. Did I do everything right, so on and so forth. And it took quite a while to get it started, but I guess maybe it just takes a while for the crankcase to fill up with the fuel and oil mixture. And eventually it did start up, so runs good. I ran it in the shop without smoking myself out, so I guess mission accomplished. So I ran it with the left side off so I can look at the crankshaft seal on the left, and in case I had to adjust the points a bit more. And also I just finally got the drive sprocket. It's a 14 tooth, not a 13 like was originally installed on the bike. I guess that was the original OEM when they came from the factory, was a 13 tooth. I can't get that anymore. So a 14 tooth fits fine. It's really nice and tight on the shaft, not sloppy like the old one was. And the teeth are not very thin and hooked. So it'll be the same deal when I get the rear sprocket. I can't get a 30 tooth rear. I can get a 32 tooth, not a 30 tooth. So now I'll just install the side cover. I'm going to check the torque on the flywheel one more time. And the drive sprocket, it's already been torqued, and the lock bent over. So I'll put the side cover on after I check the torque on the flywheel, put it together, and I still have to get the new sprocket in, so that shouldn't take too long. They're pretty readily available. So I'll put on the side cover. Well, it's all back together and it runs. A little bit of a tune-up was done, but now I'm going to take it up and down the road and warm it up a little bit and do some final tuning. I had to run it with the original rear sprocket because the new one is taking a little longer to get here than I wanted to, and I didn't want to hold up the rest of the repairs because of that and then end up not being able to use the bike. So it's off to the road and warm it up, and hopefully it performs correctly. If it doesn't, then I'll do more tuning, and I guess we'll go from there. Then it'll be off to Barber Vintage Fest. Well, doing road tests are always fun, and this one was no different. At first, the engine was running good at idle, but above idle, it still It was breaking up and hesitating and had no power at all. I couldn't make it up the little hill down the road here. So it dawned on me in the middle of the night that when I did the air filter intake tube build in fiberglass and that whole mod, I reused the original air filter. And by the looks of it, it's probably the original filter from 1964. I don't know. But anyway, your light doesn't kind of shine through it, and it's basically a brick. So I've been running it after that without a filter, and it was an improvement. But it still was running rich. I checked the spark plug, and it was black. So I decided to drop the needle valve one notch. And it didn't take much warming up, and this thing goes like crazy. So I think that's all it needed, and it hardly smokes at all. So I think it's pretty much done. I'll keep an eye on the spark plug just in case. I don't want to run it too lean. So that'll be it for this video, and I'll take up the air filter modification in next video. This should be a real short one, and we'll go from there. And there's a few other things I have to do before I put it on the road and take it down to the Barber Vintage Fest. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.